Oh, we were here for a purpose? I don't believe
Crazy.
that.
We're here for a company meeting, and I'm leaving.
Adjourned and on to top of the evening to everyone, or morning or afternoon, what have you. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome
we
to
just
the
started?
Rockhound Podcast.
Surprise!
We just got started.
We just started, and I'm like on Instagram. Checking
Top
to
of
see.
the evening.
Never mind.
Top of the evening to you, or morning, or afternoon. Welcome back to the Rockhound Podcast. We're so happy to have you here. What are we doing? Casting pods? I don't know. But we have the most interesting and exciting guest for you this evening with a really incredible collection. But first, we're going to find out who's in the room. They're not here yet. So who are you this week?
I am Jash, and I am here to represent the Sideways Wombat musical.
I hadn't even heard of that. So.
Yeah, it's a strange combination of words.
Wow, I like it.
Wow.
It kind of sounds like an onomatopoeia.
Yeah. It just sounds like it should be a thing. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. We're off to a strong start with that. And I am Karen from Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here on the really strange Oregon coast. We can't decide what we're doing out here. And it's the man behind the curtain.
Hello.
Scott.
Hello.
Goodbye.
All right. I'm
Such
glad
an
that
enigma.
we got that amazingness out of our system. So as I said before, we have got a new guest on tonight. They're not quite here yet. So we're going to go ahead and get the shouts out of the way really quick before they get here. So our last episode was about the Makers Challenge. And so we were doing a recap on the different projects. They were incredible. We're actually going to recap the last two that we weren't able to last time. So that'll be tonight. But last 2 weeks ago, we did that. And the Sand Maker found it really a great way to spend a couple of hours because we did kind of go long.
Yeah. Is that any different from normal though?
Yeah, there might have been a few tangents had. Blind Squirrel Rocks was feeling energized by all the projects. They were very inspiring and felt like they were signals to the beginning of the rock hounding season. And I feel that way too.
Heck yeah.
It's here. It's a thing.
It is.
So the harbinger of rock hounding, the Makers Challenge. Lisa proclaims that the Maker Challenge is one of the greatest weeks in lapidary since the first one. So
well, thank you.
And don't quit thinking, because it is also a testament to your awesomeness, Theo. Applause.
Oh, thank you. Again.
And so also, we hope you made it to the loo, Lisa. I know it's hard to skip with a broken foot, and cheers to you. I hope you're feeling better. Dustin Finds Rocks was checking out the Makers Challenge and thought that Theo was a madman for his Makers project.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna see just how mad later.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
That's coming. And also was wondering about the Weird Rocks. He said it's a must. And when are we doing the Weird Rocks show?
Oh, that was yesterday. You missed it. It already happened.
We all missed it.
Yeah. I didn't get the memo either.
Okay, the next one is going to be coming up soon. You guys need to fill the inbox with your Weird Rocks. And as soon as that happens, we're going to go ahead and air this bad boy. So there's an email in the description. And just to fill you in, if you don't know what Weird Rocks are, it's Weird Rocks. And so if you have some at home that you have either found or that you purchased that are like, it's of Benjamin Franklin's head, or it just, is some kind of craziness in the geological terms, send us pictures, send us a little blurb about it, to the email in the description, and you will be part of the Weird Rocks show. It's going to be outstanding.
If you don't do it, I'm going to cry.
And don't make Kyle cry. Seriously, have a heart. And so Ivan Lopez thought it was a great episode, and he wanted to say great job to all the makers, which was true fact. Great job, all the makers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for showing up in like an amount of enthusiasm and at like incredible projects that had never been seen before. I think that's what Lisa was saying. And Val Summers thought Montana Rock Mom definitely started a thing. Like everybody's going to be making a hook. So
heck yeah.
Yeah. And she was also talking about a kitchen hack for soldering. And I think that was inspired by the kitchen hack that I was doing all the casting in my kitchen. So she solders in hers. And so go check out her comment if you want some notes on that. And don't be afraid to work in your kitchen on your lapidary. Why not? That's what kitchens are for.
Exactly.
Awesome, Val. Thank you. Kevin Unger said, cut the agate, Theo.
It's hard. It's so hard. I've been looking at it more and more. I actually have an official weight on it. It's 11 pounds. That video is actually coming out tomorrow when this video comes out. So Saturday. And yeah, I just keep looking at it. I've had it for like, 2 weeks now? And I still haven't made up my mind. Though I did get a proper size assessment of it, and I don't think it'll even fit in my vise, honestly. It probably would be able to get cut by Drogon, but I literally don't think I could even cut that on my saw.
Man,
it's too big.
How many blades would you have to go through also?
Oh my gosh. The last cutting video I posted last week murdered my blade. I have to dress it so bad. It
was so worth it though, Theo.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I have an example from that video for show and tell. So it was certainly worth it, but oh my gosh. Every cut was just taking a little bit longer and a little bit longer.
That is interesting, isn't it? How do you know that your blade is no longer good?
Because it's taking 2 hours per cut, and that's my sign that it's like, okay, I need to dress this because clearly it's all glazed up.
See, we're all full of tips and fun facts over here on the podcast tonight. All right. So, let's see. Roger Wayman, he thought end cuts could also be nubbins.
Yeah, so, I could see that. Yeah, heels are kind of like nubbins, honestly.
Yeah, so I think that we kind of have a multi-purpose term there, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Rufotris, Rooted Rockhound, and the Soul Adventurous dug it, along with all you guys there chatting away in our chat. And if you want to chat away with us all week long on all these tangents, go ahead and join us over there on the Discord. Plus, you get to actually, in some cases, you get to ask our guests extra questions, because I'll go ahead and throw that out there to the Discordians to submit theirs, like for our guest tonight. And so same email that's in our description, send us an email for the invite and we'll send you the invite back, and you can go ahead and join us all week long with all of this rock craziness. And so our guest still isn't here, and I think that we'd love to hear about what you've been up to for the last couple of weeks, Theo. I mean, Josh.
Yes. I went out on Monday to hunt for rocks. Shocking, I know. That's not something I normally do. We found awesome stuff. It was a very short, mellow hunt, but man, did we get some awesome stuff, including some really nice agates and some amazing ammonites that I have to prep that I haven't started yet. But we also, the whole point was to try to find some morels, but we're too early. It's still too early in Montana. It'll probably be a couple more weeks. Other than that, I have, oh my gosh, I'm so bound and determined to get into some rails this year. We've tried like 2 or 3 times, but we're still just a little too early. The conditions aren't perfect yet. Soon though, they're around the corner.
They're like, some slippery little guys, man. I mean, you just got to pounce on them at the right time.
Well, yeah, we have so many avid morel hunters in Montana that you have to be like within the first week or they're gone. Like
Yeah.
people clear out the easy spots real fast. So you gotta get there before anyone else. I've only gotten into a bunch of morels once and it was heaven. I don't like mushrooms. Morels are on another level.
They
They're
are
so
next level
good.
mushrooms.
They really are. A little bit of butter and that's all you need. Tastes
Yeah.
like a steak. It's crazy.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
amazing. Other than that, I have been working on a video for the second channel, and it has been a lot of fun. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I have a problem with scale because I don't measure anything. I just like start doing, and whatever happens, happens. And now that I'm like, I don't know, like a fifth of the way through it, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is going to be way bigger than I wanted it to be.
Isn't bigger better though?
Yeah, but it also becomes this problem of how do I display this? This needs like so much space to be displayed. It's
like is
dang
it the Arc de Triomphe big? I mean, do we need like a
I mean, yeah, it's like
huge vestibule for it?
Yeah, kind of. It's getting there. It's not far off from that.
I can't wait to see what this thing is.
Yes, it's probably going to be 2 parts because that's how big I made it, and yeah, still regret that. But yeah, part 1 should be coming out not this week but next week. And I posted a video last week actually of just turning stuff on the lathe because I figured it had been a while because my Maker's Challenge project had been taking all of my time, so I should probably do something quick and easy so I can get a video out over there because it has been a while. But we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Nice.
Yes.
And is that all that's going on in Theo land?
Actually, pretty much. I have like a bunch of videos stockpiled right now, so I'm kind of trying to get ahead on the second channel because I would really like to move to like weekly videos over there if I could swing it, because I don't like having to go 2 weeks between every post because it just it's some projects take a long time, so I'd like to get several videos out and then I could probably do weekly for at least throughout the summer. It's just way easier to work on projects during the summer because I have so many hunts that I can post. The lapidary videos take way longer to film and edit, and
so true.
Yeah. I can post a hunt that's like 1 day film edit done. Like the lapidary sometimes I work on all week long, like the cutting video. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
but they're worth it.
They are so worth it. It's just, man, talk about a time sink.
Yeah Heard that. All right, well, thank you for that. Yes. And we have been totally busy over here, of course, as per tradition in the studio. We have a new beach hunt video out that was super cool. I was doing the intro and I reached down to get what I just thought was one of my favorite kind of spiral shells, and it turned out to be agatized all the way through. And so the last video just kind of came out so nice as far as being such a fun hunt that it actually trumped a bunch of other videos that should have come first. And I was just like, this one's way too cool to put on the back shelf until it's time. So you guys got to see it just right after we went down for that hunt. And I've been working on a new body of work for the website as far as jewelry is concerned. So there's been a lot of chaos back here in the studio, doing a lot of faceting as you would expect. I've got another faceting video coming up soon, as a lot of you have been asking me when that's going to happen. So it'll be a little bit more in depth and have some different shapes and things that I've been trying. Been getting better at getting the color out of the sunstones, and so that's going to be fun to see. So addicted to that. And we have an exciting announcement about new merch over there on the channel. And one of the reasons why I did that was I was being asked by people how they could support the channel, but also that I'm fundraising for an air scribe. I totally need one. And I thought, okay, I want to do something where people can go ahead and help, but they get something nice. And it's not the merch that's over there isn't built around my logo. It's actually something for everybody, and it's based on the Pax Romana, which was the time of peace in the Roman Empire, where everybody got to go do what they wanted to do instead of the business of fighting and all that kind of stuff. And so for our community, I made a circle of like the minerals and rocks on pedestals, and of course the rock hammers, and so it's the Pax Rockana.
I like that.
Yeah, peace and rocks, right? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And so I just thought, okay, here's something that you just want anyway, and you can get a coffee mug or you can get a t-shirt or whatever. And you get something nice and you help the channel at the same time. So we're excited about that. I can't wait to get mine, actually. So I can get a rocket.
I can't wait for you to get a scribe also. Like, it's the best. You want one and you need one, but life just changes within the first 15 minutes of using it. And you realize, how have I gone so long without one of these in my life?
Right. I know. I can feel the tears coming, as far as how wonderful that's going to be.
Oh my gosh.
And a little heads up, our guest is also going to show you how come I need this really bad. And that's really actually though all that we've been up to. And so I think that I'm getting a phone call from our guest. Yeah. You say that the whale's skull is too big to bring on your Zoom camera? Okay. All right. You need me to come over there. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll be right there and just hold it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to be right back. So,
all right.
Yeah, stay here.
I'll just be sitting here being cool.
Okay.
Welcome. We're here at Ground Zero in one of the North America's biggest marine mammal fossil collections for the Astoria Formation with Kent Gibson, the finder. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Kent Gibson. I've been collecting fossils around here for about 25 years, and I'm just still waiting for the 12-step program to help me out to get out of it. But, I collect here around Newport, Oregon, and like I said, I seem to be pretty good at finding stuff, but not getting rid of it. So
we'll cover that in a little bit, exactly where all this stuff is going. Okay. After we meet some of those items. All right. Well, thank you so much for having us here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, so one of the things that we always love to know is how the heck did you get started into this rock craziness and fossil craziness?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because I had a dog named Bart who was a black lab, and he'd go to the beach with me all the time. I'd be agate hunting and jasper hunting, and I was down by Ona Beach and getting ready to leave with my partial bucket of agates and stuff, and I looked down right by the trailhead and saw a little round rock that had some black stuff on it, and I picked it up and looked at it and I thought, well, that looks weird, and I threw it down the beach. And my dog was a rockhound, so of course he runs down to the beach and grabs it and brings it back to me, and so I picked it up and I threw it further down the beach, and I grabbed my bucket and started walking up the trail to my truck. And I'm putting the 5-gallon bucket in the back of my truck, and the dog comes running up and drops this rock on my foot. So I looked at him and I said, okay, Bart, you can keep your rock. And I picked it up and I threw it in the truck and loaded him up, and off we go. And then when I got home, I was reaching in for my 5-gallon bucket of agates, and I looked down and I saw that rock, and it looked like it was staring at me. Come to find out, it was like the nasal openings on a little tiny porpoise skull.
No way.
And so, and that was actually the first fossil that I ever found, and that one ended up at the Smithsonian with 6 other ones that they chose out of my collection for their collection. So that's how I ended up getting into this. I didn't know there was even bones on the beach. But after that, my agate hunting kind of slowed down, and I started looking for bone more. So I'd go down to the beach, and it took me about 5 years to really get a good eye for bones. But then when I did, it was crazy. Some days I'd walk off the beach with 25 or 30 pieces of bone, and it just mushroomed from there, I guess.
And we are so glad that it did. Your spoils are amazing. Do you want to go into at all what some of these are here? That
I don't even know what some of this one here. There's an ear bone from a whale in this one.
Okay, everybody, there's the ear bone. Remember what that looks like.
And let's see. This one I don't know exactly what it is. It looks like everybody's. I just pick the stuff up and don't spend a lot of time looking at it. But I like this. I like to see the bones in them and let somebody else figure out a lot of times what they are. But it's I'll let the experts figure out most of the stuff. But I know a few of what a few of them are, and a couple of them right now I have up at OMSI getting prepped, and they'll be coming back before I end up getting rid of them eventually. And
where will you be getting rid of them to?
They're all going to go to the University of Oregon's Condon collection in the end. I've had some of the students and professors here at my house for some weekends to start cataloging everything. So they spent 2 weekends here, and they're coming again in another month or so for another weekend, and they're up to 1,600 fossils they've inventoried so far, and I don't think they're halfway done yet.
That's a lot of fossils. Patrick Donahue, actually also a geologist, was asking exactly that. How in the world do you catalog all of your work? And the answer is?
Well, the answer is you get people. When I started, I had no clue that any of this stuff was really even scientifically important, and I had no guidance for probably the first 15 years of my collecting, and so I was bad and didn't keep any notes and stuff on a lot of the stuff, but it all came from a general area. And so I ended up accidentally meeting the guy, Kirk Johnson, who's now the director of the Smithsonian, one weekend. He was doing a presentation on their Cruising the Fossil Freeway book with Ray Troll up in Lincoln City. And so I went up there. I loaded up about a dozen fossils in my truck and went up there and was going to show them to see if they wanted to look at them. Well, when I got up there about 45 minutes early, and I didn't really know where to go. I'm sitting in my truck, and I'm looking around, and I see these two guys walking across the parking lot that look kind of out of place a little bit, I'd say. And so I opened my door and said, "Hey, do you guys know where they're going to be talking about fossils later?" And I think it was Ray Troll looked at me and says, "Yeah, we're going to be right over here." And I said, "Oh, well, I brought some fossils. Do you want to look at them?" And Ray says, "Well, maybe when we're done with our talk, we'll come out and look at them." I said, "Oh, okay." So anyway, I went in and sat through about a 250 slide show presentation on their Cruising the Fossil Freeway book. And so when they got done, since Ray's a little bit famous, he had about 30 guys after there trying to get autographs and stuff. And so I waited till the last guy was gone. And I walked up to him and I said, "So you guys still want to look at my fossils?" And Kirk Johnson says, "Yeah, sure, we'll come out and look at them." So we walked out to my truck. I opened up the back door, and all I heard Kirk Johnson say was, "Oh my God, Ray, look at this!" And he grabbed the marlin skull and hold it out. And then the next thing you know, I got invited to lunch with him and with some other people, and we've been fairly good friends ever since.
Bones make friends.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, that's great. You know, so you've got some pieces in the Smithsonian, and obviously you're amassing quite a few. And Kyle actually was asking about what got you into the prepping of the bones.
I right now I really don't remember, except I want to say that I started out with one medium-sized air scribe just because I wanted to work on one, and it kind of went from there. But Kirk Johnson and Ray Troll ended up over at my house like the next year. Well, they ended up at my house that first time they were here because I took them on a fossil hunt. There's another part of the story. Took them on a fossil hunt down to Moolock Beach, and when we got done, we spent about 3 hours on the beach, and we get back up to the parking lot, and I'm about ready to leave, and Kirk looks at me and says, "So, do you have anything else at your house?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He says, "Well, do you mind if we come over?" I said, "No." So they came over to the house here, and they spent 3 more hours looking through all my stuff, and then, it was right then. Kirk was working for the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and so anyway, we exchanged information and stuff. And about 3 months later, I can't remember if it was an email or a text or something. He told me that he had a new job, and now he was the director of the Smithsonian Natural History Museum, which kind of blew me away. And so the very next year, about the same time, they came back up for another presentation on their Cruising the Fossil Freeway book. And I actually had them over for dinner that night. And I had found a fossil that in between those 2 visits. And they were looking through my stuff, and they picked this one up, and they were contemplating whether it might have been a seal or maybe a Desmostylus. And it was just mostly covered in rock. You could see a little bit, but the shape was kind of unique. So that's when, after they left, I thought, well, if that's a Desmostylus, I'd like to know about it. So I started prepping on that one, and next thing you know, I ended up buying a smaller air scribe so I could do the real fine work and get close to the bone without damaging it. And so after about, I don't know how many hours, I got over 100 hours in that fossil altogether. Ooh. But I was working down in there, and I hit a little white spot, and I kind of cleaned it around, and it was a little round white tooth, and I knew right then that it was a Desmostylus. So,
oh, nice.
And it turned out it was a juvenile Desmostylus because there's a bone that cover up some of the teeth, and the scientists looked at it and said, "Oh, the teeth haven't erupted yet. This is a juvenile." So, I'm learning stuff as we go because I really didn't know anything. I was just a guy who likes to find stuff. Been hunting for stuff all my life, whether it's minerals or gold or whatever. I had a gold dredge for 26 years, so I did that in my spare time. And then I bought a metal detector at Headers, Nevada, and rented an old timer out there who got me turned on to minerals and different stuff. So anyway, that's where were we going with all this? Was that
scribing? Like,
scribing. Oh yeah, okay.
Can we see what you've got going on over there?
Sure.
Yeah, let's just walk on over there.
So this is one I've been working. I haven't worked on it much, and I got to start. I think I'll start probably in another couple of months of working on this one again. But this is a whale skull in here that I probably found about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And I've scribed it down. This is how thick the matrix was from there. It's probably a good 3 inches or so.
Oh, wow.
Of overburden was over the top of this.
There's some of it right there.
So, yeah. So anyway, I want to clean this one up some more and get it ready to get donated eventually too. So. Yeah,
so the collection will eventually end up over there at the University of Oregon, right? In the Condon collection?
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's a really good article actually over in the University of Oregon News about you with that information. There was a situation, you were just talking about Ray Troll, and you had a foot surgery or something like that, and tell me about that story.
Yeah, well, a couple of years ago, I was still working, but I was trying to get my surgery scheduled because I had some ankle problems. My ankle would just give out all of a sudden, so I went to the doctor.
Was it from carrying bones?
It may have been. I don't know. But anyway, they found out that I had a couple bone spurs in there, and they were going to tighten some tendons and ligaments, and then the doctor says, well, if your ankle's still going to have a tendency to want to turn a little bit, but he says there is one thing we can do to fix it so that probably won't happen. And I asked him what that was. He says, well, we cut your heel off and move it over a centimeter or something to the side where it turns, so that will stop your ankle from rolling. All right, I said, let's go for it. And so they did all that, and I ended up getting a couple titanium pins in the heel, and they did that. And so that was in July, I think, June or July. And so I hadn't been to the beach at all till, let's see, it was November 1st. I retired October 31st. Ray Troll calls me up the night of my retirement party and says, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, well, I don't know. He says, well, do you want to take me and the wife to the beach for a fossil hunt with another couple? I said, sure, why not? So hadn't been to the beach, and I'd been down and out with my ankle for several months because it was a pretty major surgery. And so I met him at the beach, and I walked down, and I could tell my ankle still wasn't, exactly good. So I started searching around in the creek a little bit through the rocks, and Ray says, well, let's go down the beach a little bit. So I started walking down the beach with him a little ways, and I told Ray, I said, I think I'm just going to go back there. I'm not going to walk that far yet. So I went back to the same place I just hunted a little bit and started doing a grid search the other direction. And so I passed this biggest rock in the creek like a couple of times, and I got to looking at it, and it turned out this rock had a fossil in it, and it's part of a whale rostrum. And that's this one right here. So I called Ray on the phone because he was down the beach and said, hey, Ray, guess what? And he says, you found another skull. I said, well, yeah, I did, or part of one. So anyway, he comes back and looks at it, and turns out to be this whale rostrum. And it goes pretty much all the way through. It goes, there you can see the bone all the way around through here. And it goes around on both sides.
Oh my gosh.
You can see it here. So all this could come off, this matrix and that matrix, and you have a big part of the rostrum on there.
Wow.
So
that's like a lot of somebody's life to do, right?
That would take a little while. That's I think that rock must be in the neighborhood of
oh my gosh, look at that.
Let me think. That one's 220, so I'll bet it's probably close to 500 pounds or so.
Yeah. So that would give you a bone spur to trying to remove from the beach. So I think you don't use just your body as a tool. There's got to be some other way to get them off the beach, right?
Yeah. Well, the real funny thing was that I couldn't get it out that day because I wasn't prepared to, and my ankle was still not good. But I thought for the rest of the day how I was going to get that off. So the next day I go down there just about dark. And was able to pull it off the beach. I tied some rope around it and drug it up to where I could get to my truck. And I had a little hoist in the back of my truck, and I put a net around it and ended up hoisting it into my pickup. And I got it home, dropped it off, and then I think the next morning I had an email from I think it was Ed Davis from University of Oregon. Says, hey, one of my students or somebody said they found a fossil down the beach, and can you help them get it out? And he told me where it was, and I said, sorry, Ed, I think it's already sitting at my house. So I could tell when I went down there to get it the next day, the whole rock had been flipped upside down. So I knew somebody had seen it. And so they found it I think the next day, that day I went down to pick it up, probably earlier in the day. So
that was going to be my next question. Like, I'd be sleeping down there with that thing if I found it. Nobody's taking that.
Nobody's taking that off the beach except for
you.
Yeah, and I had the means, so, and it really didn't affect my foot that much because I really didn't have to do anything but walk out there, tie a rope onto it, and then pull it up to where I could get it into my truck.
Nice.
So,
well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that when it happens with that. That's huge. Is the the one that's at the Smithsonian of similar size, or?
No, oh no. I've donated 7 skulls to them. They're all, the biggest one's probably the marlin skull. And part of the deal for me donating them is they made a couple of casts for me. And so I had them cast the marlin skull and also the Desmostylus skull that I found. So, nice. And they put me up in a motel room for 10 nights back in Washington, D.C. And so that was kind of fun. And every day they let me go to the Smithsonian up into the back rooms and open up cabinets and pull out drawers and take pictures and stuff. And that was really cool. I could pull out stuff, open some drawers and go, oh, that's all from Newport area. I could, it's just the color and the color of the matrix and the color of the bones. I could just tell it. And I looked at the information tags, and sure enough, it was from either Astoria Formation here or Nye Formation down by South Beach. And
wow.
So that was kind of fun. And they took me on a couple fossil hunts while I was there too, and to the Calvert Cliffs. And so of course I go down there and find just a beautiful megalodon tooth with every ridge on it.
That's when I met you. You had it in your truck seat or something. You're like, do you want to see something neat? Yeah, you brought me up off of Moolac and showed me your tooth.
Well, I found one big tooth down at Moolac too, but that actually ended up getting donated to a Mace Brown Museum at the College of Charleston, and they made a cast of that one for me. So
nice.
The guy that made the cast for me was actually with Kirk and Ray the first time that I met him with his wife, and he was just getting ready to go off to New Zealand to get his PhD from the world's leading whale expert.
Wow.
So when he left in 2 weeks after that, and he spent a few years in New Zealand getting that PhD, and then he came back and ended up at the College of Charleston. So I had a really good contact, and that guy really knows his stuff. I mean, he was going through my collection, pulling out stuff and ripping off scientific names. I'm just going, man, who is this kid? but now I know that I can send him pictures, and he will tell me almost instantly, what it is or what he thinks it is. So,
what tooth was it that you had found here locally?
It was a relative of the megalodon.
Wow.
The tooth was about 2 3/4 inches big, kind of about like that. Got it. A copy of it in there. I can show you here pretty soon or something.
Yeah.
So
that would be awesome.
That's the cast they made. The rock was probably about that thick, but they just made a top cast of it.
I'll be darned. It was in a concretion.
Yeah.
Man. I wonder how many times you just walk straight over the top of stuff like that.
Not very often, because shark teeth are very rare around here.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I mean, really rare. But here's the megalodon tooth I found at the Calvert Cliffs when.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw.
Yeah. It's got every serration on it, and it's still sharp.
Yeah, that is in great condition. Look at that.
Found that about a foot underwater. I thought it was a piece of bone at first, and I reached down to pick it up, and I thought, oh, it's glass. Because I grabbed a hold of this shiny part here and pulled it out of the water, and was going, oh my God, look at that. One of the scientists I was with there, because I went with some guys from the Calvert Museum and the Smithsonian, and they said, man, I just live up here and been on the beach all my life and haven't found one that good. So anyway.
Well, your eyes have to be tuned to some degree. You thought you were looking at bone, but...
Well, it was under about a foot of water, so it was kind of, and ripply, and so it looked like the brown part there, I thought was bone. So, but it looks similar to bone, but...
Yeah, good score.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So this is the room in which you do some of the abrading. That's a great machine there.
Yeah, this is just the box, and this is the machine is actually that one over there, the Comco.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to get this all set up before I retired, so I ended up working on buying this and buying that, and then I bought the microscope, and then I made this little thing for my microscope so I can slide it back and forth on here and put it in different positions to look down in there.
Brilliant. So you work with metal too? You do some welding and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm that's how I got started actually fishing in Alaska, is because of my welding degree. I welded a couple hundred king crab pots up for the guy I ended up working for up there.
Nice. And here you can use it for your bone hunt skills as well.
Yeah.
Sweet. Those are good skills to have for sure.
I built a lot of stuff over the years, especially when I worked at the port, man. I built all sorts of crap.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have in here to look at? Shows and tells all over.
Okay, so this is the cast of the marlin skull, and this is the cast of the Desmo stylus. And this one still, you can see that's the bone I was talking about that was over the teeth that the scientists looked at and said, "Oh, it's not erupted yet." So
wow.
Yeah, I've got, this is a dolphin skull that I prepped out. This one has the ear bones in it, so that's pretty important piece there. Most of the time you find these skulls and they don't have the ear bones in them. And this one here, I started trying to look to see if there was anything under there, but that's as far as I got with my air scribes. I'm just overwhelmed with, what do I work on next? And
yeah, having a look around, you can see why you'd have a conundrum every time you try to go to work. There's so much here.
I can't do anything during the wintertime because I spend all my time on the beaches, and I just burned out by the time I get home.
Not to mention that it's cold and drizzly, and that's some gritty work to do. Like a lot of it outside, right?
Well,
the scribing anyway.
No, most of the scribing I do
it's
right
here.
in there.
Oh, okay.
If they'll fit, the bigger ones. Like that one out that you saw earlier, I had to do it outside because it definitely won't fit in there. And then if I did, you won't have room to work.
Right.
So this is a skull I found just recently. It's another dolphin skull.
Wow.
And this one I think I'm going to do some acid prep on. I got some 30% acid. I'm going to try and weaken it down to about 10% and get this in there, but I got to find it somewhere around here. I got some B72 to put on it, but I haven't found my beads yet. They're here somewhere. But I may have to get some more if I don't find them. But
somewhere in this laboratory/museum.
Yeah. So, now here's a picture. This is a picture Ray Troll took the day I met Kirk Johnson. That's the director of the Smithsonian Natural History Museum now, and they were a little excited as soon as they saw that.
Yeah, he's looking stoked and holding it like a baby.
Yeah. Then there's the ones. There's Kirk, and this is Nick Pienson, who is curator for fossil marine mammals at the Smithsonian. Those on the table are the ones I donated.
Oh, wow. Nice. Awesome.
So then they were working on their second book called it turned out to be called Cruising the Fossil Coastline when they were doing their trips up here. And so anyway, turns out that when that book got published about 7 years after I met him, I'm in that book now. So that was kind of interesting.
So you ended up doing a whole show at the aquarium with Ray, right?
Yeah, well, Ray was doing the show, and he asked me, all his artwork is beautiful.
Yes.
Weird, beautiful artwork.
Yeah, this is one, right?
Yeah, and so he asked me if I would be willing to put some of my fossils in there. I said, well, sure. So I think I ended up with close to probably around 40 of my fossils in that aquarium exhibit, along with some other people that put some stuff in there. Most of them were from North American Research Group, had different fossils that they had put in there. So yeah, it was kind of fun.
That was a great show. Was it a good experience for you? Do you like shows?
I didn't have to do much. I helped set it up. I helped Ray do some painting in there and so forth.
Oh, the walls were so cool.
Yeah, we did. I don't know how many days. A couple of days, 3 days of him down here setting that up, and it was kind of fun. I think one of his daughter was there, and one of her friends came down and helped out too, and so it was kind of fun. And they all ended up over here, of course, looking at the fossil collection. So,
party at Kent's. So you also do the Fossil Fest, and you made an appearance recently at the Yahat's Agate Fest. Do you like doing talks, and what do you typically do for those?
I don't necessarily like doing the talks, but I like to, let people see what can be found on the beaches down around here. So I get a lot of neat feedback, and then people bring me stuff too to look at and say, hey, what's this? And that's kind of what I really like to see, is what people bring in to show me what they found. And because there's some stuff going, oh damn it, I wish I would have found that. I've seen some pretty neat things come in either at Fossil Fest or at that show there. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that must be fun for you to see other people's bones then too.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, you can't find everything.
No, I can't. I'm trying. I can't do this forever. I'm getting older now, and my body ain't working like it used to when I was, in my 40s. So I didn't find, like I said, I didn't find my first fossil till I was 38, and so I spent from about 3 weeks ago. I counted the hours I was on the beach starting January 1st, and I was up to 308 hours, and I spent another week on the beach after that. So I must be close to 350 hours or something like that on the beach. Or
so boo to retirement. You just switched.
Yeah, I switched to just walking on the beach, and it's lots of good exercise, and it doesn't bother me if it rains or whatever. All I know is when it rains and blows really hard, I'm usually the only one down there. Yeah, so
got it to yourself.
It works out for me.
Yeah, I occasionally find things when you're like gone to Hawaii or something.
Yeah, so.
Which is also awesome. That reminds me of a question that usually either Theo or Kyle would ask, and that is, if you could go anywhere in the world to go fossil hunting, where would you go if it wasn't here?
Well, I see a lot of really cool stuff around England and Scotland on some of those beaches, and there's also, now that I've seen Morning Mamlambo's stuff, I said New Zealand wouldn't be a bad place to go check out either, so that would be kind of fun.
That would be a blast. You'd have the eyes for it. It's the same age about, right?
Yeah, it's the same age stuff, and it looks about the same color, so it would be really easy for me to spot bone in that stuff. Although there's more different things there. Like, we don't have penguins here, but
yeah.
But hey, I found a bird skull one time, and actually Jim Goddard's got that right now. He's gonna, I think, prep it, and he's writing a paper on birds from, I don't know if it's birds from the Astoria Formation, I think.
Wow.
And he didn't have a bird skull, so I let him borrow that one to do the paper on, and I'm assuming he's working on that now. And so that was a pretty cool thing. The bird was called a Pelagornis, and I guess they had wingspans up to 25 feet. So
what?
So it was a big...
That's a dragon!
It was a big bird. I don't know what size... This is part of the brain case, I think, of this bird skull I found, but I knew when I picked it up, I go, man, this looks different. It's like the first time I found turtle shell, I was going, well, this kind of looks different. So I didn't think much about it for a while, but when I started setting up for the aquarium show, I started posting a couple of pictures on the internet to try and find out what that was, and come back that I got from several people that they thought it was a bird skull. So.
Wow.
And as far as I know, it's the only one that I know I have. I could have some other ones somewhere, but I don't know for sure. I don't think I do, but they're obviously pretty rare.
Yeah, that's incredible. Rufotris Rooted Rockhound, he's another channel, and into fossil hunting as well. but also very much part of the internet, was asking how many times people have brought you an egg or something, where they think they're pretty sure it's a something and it's not that thing at all.
Quite frequently. Usually it's about 50-50 if somebody having a real fossil as compared to something that's just a rock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you, and it's really hard to tell, especially kids, that no, it's just a rock. But, if they don't learn when they're young, then they might be just picking up rocks their whole life.
There are worse hobbies, but absolutely, it would be better to train the eye for those fossils as opposed to just rocks. What would you say is the weirdest thing that you've ever found?
Fossil-wise?
Yeah.
The weirdest thing? I don't know. I think it's all pretty weird.
Yeah. We're surrounded by eyes. Everybody's like, pick me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I found this. I put this on display sometimes, and it's not really that weird, but most women, when I have this on display somewhere, will come up and say, "Oh, that's a pretty flower." No, it's a fish vertebrae with associated bones. So,
but that is really nice composition. If that's artwork,
Yeah. So anyway, that's I found a barnacle. I got a little barnacle here. That's this is one of the ones that's been inventoried by University of Oregon. All the ones with numbers on them are cataloged already. But
that's a fossil barnacle.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've seen other barnacles that people have found, but haven't seen any exactly like this. I've seen some that are even in clusters.
Wow.
But barnacles are pretty rare, and most of the time I'm looking for stuff that's bigger anyway. But
so, what would you say have you found anything so rare that they didn't know about it ahead of time?
I don't know yet. like the bird skull, I don't know yet.
Ooh, that might be something you get to name.
We'll see. It could be a different species. There could be a lot of different species in here that, like all these dolphin skulls and so forth. I've got so much stuff, and they can't all be the same. But I know there's been several of them that have already been named and stuff that are pretty common. But you don't know. It could be any one of these. Could be a new species. But
what would you call it?
I probably wouldn't get to name it.
You wouldn't get to name it?
Well,
really?
most of this stuff will probably get studied after I'm dead. So,
oh.
I don't.
If you could name a fossil, do you have something in mind?
No,
not yet.
No. Most of the time, they use your last name and put an I after it. Put this
Gibson.
Yeah, basically, that's probably what would happen. But it's hard to say. Like this, there's a fish here too. This rockfish. Who knows what that is? I had some people here from Berkeley a while back, and
oh my gosh, that's so cool.
That one, who knows? That might be the only one rockfish like that's been found. That's it's got skull components to it. I don't know.
That's got some really neat detail, like that serration there.
There's all the teeth right in there.
Okay, so those are teeth.
Yeah, I found this, and when I found it, all these lighter areas were what was showing. In the dark areas, what I uncovered was the scribes and did a little bit of air abrasion on it.
That's neat. I just found something that had very shiny like that through it.
Shiny stuff normally means it's some sort of fish.
Yeah.
And then while the gal from Berkeley was here, she was out in the other room out there, and she found this one. And she goes, "You need to put that in there with that fish." I said, "Oh, okay." So
wow.
This is just like the same as this area here, but it'd be on the other side, I'm assuming. So
maybe it's your other side.
Oh, and it's got some vertebrae in there too.
Wow. Oh yeah. So cool. So one of the questions that often gets asked by Kurt is while you're out in the field, which you spend literally hours. I think the time that I saw you out on a southerly beach, not so northerly from where we are. You were there for something like 8.5 hours, or?
I spent a lot of time on the beach that day.
Yeah.
I started there. I went to 3 different places down there, and just there was rocks to look at. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, and not a wasted day. It was a gorgeous day. And so, have you ever had animal encounters while you're out and about? And that's not just on the beach. Like I know that you go out east and do some hounding, in some different states and that sort of thing. So.
The only thing, when I was in Nevada, the only thing you find is like scorpions. You turn over rocks and there's little scorpions underneath them, and they glow in the dark. They're really cool. Or they glow in their black UV lights, I mean.
Yeah, you bring your UV beast with you. Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. But, what you usually see is dead animals. Like there was a dead sperm whale washed up on the beach north of Beverly Beach a couple years ago that spent most of the winter there, moving around just a little bit. But
do you have more to show?
Well, I've got turtle pieces over here. This is a big chunk of turtle. You can see the shell on there, and then on the side you can see some of the bones on the side of that one.
Yeah, this is one of those things where if you saw that...
And then the other side's got bones.
Would you know what you were looking at, Like,
it was laying on the edge when I saw it, and what I saw was it was laying like that, and it was all kind of buried, but I saw this here, and it's going, well, what the heck is that? So it didn't look really like bone that I'm used to, so I started digging it out and pulled it out of there and saw that, and that's just basically the way it came out.
Wow.
And then I found there's another little piece of turtle here I found this year, not too long ago, and you see the bone. The color of the bone in there is about the same as the one on, if you look at them, they're basically the same.
Huge similarity there, and different looking than the mammals or the fish that we typically see.
Yeah, so I've got another big piece out in the barn, I think.
I feel like this one's staring at me.
That's a whale. And I don't know what kind of whale, but anyway, these 3 pieces and then all this stuff back here all attached to it. Those 2 big pieces here were out on the front end of this thing out, and it came out to about here. But this was sticking up out of the water, kind of at an angle like this.
Oh, wow.
And if I wouldn't have collected it, then it would have been all completely busted up and moved around. But right now you can actually put these 2 together, and it looks pretty good once you get them all squared away. But
that's incredible that you're finding these different pieces that actually go together.
Well, these were all together. They had a crack was filled with sandstone in between them, and so when I pulled it out, it just instantly broke off at that little crack.
Got
and
it.
So I just picked up all the pieces I could and
wow.
got them home. So and then what else I got? Oh, here's something. I found this here recently. This is a
oh man,
great big vertebrae. This is the biggest one I ever found, and I found it about a month ago. This is about 4-inch shark vertebrae.
Shark.
Yep, and there's some other shark vertebrae right here. You can see the difference in the size of this and that. So this is probably a basking shark.
Yeah. People I know are wondering right now, like, who belonged to that vert?
Yeah, you can
That's
see
a big daddy.
Yeah, this one I might even do acid prep on it, possibly.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah, so that was on my mind to maybe do some acid prep on. Then a pine cone. There's one of the nicer pine cones I think I found. I've already donated some to the University of Oregon, and the week that I donated 4 or 5 to them, I found another one, and then I've got probably another 3 or 4 besides that I found this year. So
wow, there's that texture. I know I've seen. It's funny coming and perusing your rocks because I've seen that on the beach. Didn't know what the heck it was.
And
left
you
it behind.
It there, yeah.
Yeah, because as you know, you can only schlep so many things off the beach, and so
yeah, so many.
Right.
Here's the day I met you down there south of town. later in that day, I found this one in a different spot, which is a great big, I'm pretty sure this is a great big dolphin skull of some kind.
Wow!
You can see the nasal openings here.
We obviously brought you good luck.
And then the following day, I found this little chunk down there, which is also another, probably a little dolphin skull.
So are we looking at the back end then?
This is the front.
That's the front end?
It's just completely sliced off. You get cross section. The back end is back here. This is where the vertebrae hook on.
Right.
So, yeah, those are both from down south. I found, and then I got a bucket out here that's the rest of the stuff from the Nye Formation. I got it separated out in a bucket. I spent 3 days down there. I got these two, and then the bucket of stuff out here that's...
You said something about crabs, that you feel like you might have found a couple crabs that day?
Yeah, I think they're down there. And let's see. Oh, that's that story. I wander outside.
Yeah.
I don't know what I got in here, but this is the... Oh yeah, this is a bucket of Nye Formation stuff. There's stuff in here. This is a jumbled up piece of crab.
Wow.
And let's see what else.
Crab bisque.
Yeah,
look at that.
I think that's another piece of crab. None of them were that good that I found down there, but
any crab is good crab.
This is probably parts of crab, but I don't know for sure on that one. And this is just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's all right. They're sturdy. They're rocks.
But there's bones in there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's some vertebrae, a couple of vertebrae in this one.
That's pretty. Yeah.
And I'm not sure what this could be. More crab stuff or
like assorted.
Yeah, they're all just busted up. And then I found a crepadula little cluster.
Oh, I love those.
But this...
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot.
Yeah, so anyway, this like I said, this is the stuff I found in the course of 3 days down there.
Oh, that's nice.
But most of it's
in disarray.
Yeah.
Like a kind of more of a crab plate than anything.
Yeah. And I don't know.
That's cool.
These are probably rib bones from pinniped, probably. I'm gonna guess. I'm not an expert.
I don't know, man. You've probably laid your eyes on more than
Okay, so this is a crab for sure. That's the big pincher, I think.
Oh, nice. Wow, there you go, people.
Yeah.
There it is.
There might be more underneath there if you clean it up.
That's a Karen Holy Grail right there.
Oh.
One of them anyway. Yeah, look at that. Very cool.
So that'd probably be the underside of it. But anyway, that's the bucket of stuff I got in 3 days of bone down that way. And I don't hunt down there normally, but I got all the beaches up north were kind of covered up, so that's why I went down. I found a couple of crabs here north of town here recently too, though. So.
Oh yeah, look at that. Boy, if that isn't as obvious as you could be.
Yeah, and then this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you can really see the pincher on that one.
I'll be darned.
So.
It really takes seeing it, I think, sometimes to be able to know what to look for when you're on the beach.
Yep.
Or wherever you are. That's fantastic.
Yes. So another thing when I was going to mention, when Jim Goddard was here looking at stuff, he found this out there, which is kind of an interesting looking piece. But then somewhere else in my collection, he found this one.
Oh my gosh.
And I most likely got these on different days, but these fit together like a glove.
Oh my gosh.
See, it's the back of a skull.
Wow. Yeah, what are the odds there?
Yeah, it fits in there just like a glove.
That's incredible. You're like, that looks familiar.
Yeah. So this is one I have to get them to change the numbers on them because, oh no, they did. They already did that. No, they didn't. 0217 and 0710. So they got to change these to the same number.
So they're associated. Yeah.
That's why I have them up here. So.
Wow. I guess the kitty doesn't get to use this, huh?
Well, they got tired of using it, so actually the wife wanted me to throw it away, but it got this far, and I thought, they can play with it out here, and one thing led to another, and you can see what happened.
Yeah,
table.
I like that. Good use of the cat table. Nice. Tell us about this.
Well, I got an email from somebody when was that? Last year at some point, and they told me that I'd won this award. I had no idea, never heard of the award, didn't know anything about it, but apparently you have to be nominated to win this. And so Catherine Palmer Award's given to one person every year I'm assuming in the United States. And I guess Ed Davis nominated me for it. And unbeknownst to me, so a little while later I got that in the mail, so that was kind of cool.
That is super cool. Congratulations on that.
Well, thanks.
Very nice.
I didn't know that my dog bringing that thing off the beach would turn into that 25 years later.
Right. Awesome.
I held down the fort for you, being all cool and stuff. I guess I could probably stop because, the cooler person is here. How do I think now I'm going to look really cool when I can't figure out how to turn it on. Oh, there we go. I fixed it. All right. Yeah. Peak cool.
Well, you definitely needed the shades to watch all that coolness also that was going by.
Yes.
Amazing. And actually, that was only like less than half of the collection. There's going to be a part 2, and that didn't contain his yard. He's got like a kind of like a walk-in shed where he's got a bunch of his collection, and then a whole barn.
It's so amazing.
Fossil barn.
I wish I could have been there for it.
Bone closet.
Me too. It would have been way harder for me though.
Yeah, you guys, I'm sure that he would be super happy to have you guys over also and to show you the collection, because he's obviously super enthusiastic, and we are.
Yeah, I don't know if you've all noticed this, but
he would dig the enthusiasm and the appreciation, I know. And I don't know if you could tell, but I was super giddy. And I was even having trouble speaking at times. So you'll have to forgive me that I forgot my brain a few times. It was befuddled trying to process all that I was looking at.
Yes.
At that moment.
I definitely understand.
Yeah.
That's how it was looking at Derek's collection the first time out. Just your brain just can't comprehend what you're looking at.
Yeah, I actually started getting fried. I was like, I think I need a break and to come back. And so actually we'll do that too. So there's the second half of the interview that you guys will treat you to soon. Also, we'll be going back, and hopefully with Kyle at the very least, so that we can go and check out more of the bony and fossily and actually minerally goodness. He's got an incredible collection of minerals too, you guys.
Nice.
That combined. Yeah. So we also have some more incredibility. The Makers Challenge stuff that we haven't quite gotten to yet. We had a few more. And so Theo, Josh.
It's pronounced Josh. Yeah, come on now. So all that we missed from the last episode was Friday and Saturday. So Friday, we had Michigan Rocks, who made those amazing butterflies. It was so freaking cool. And Marlena Atkins, who made that awesome little light out of the agonized wood. I don't know why the word agonized just escaped my brain for some reason. I was like, that wood stuff that glows. Come on now.
Maybe you only have like a limited number of them in your brain, like forever, and you've used it up. Like you've said agatize so many times.
Like, you have a word limit per day, I think. So, I must have been talking a bunch today. Brain's just turning off.
But yeah, so Michigan rocks. That was really cool. And I love things that kind of like the hook that Kim made. You can use that. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be able to, this is a decor item, but still it's like not a slab in a drawer. It's like, this is going to be looked at and enjoyed every single day.
Yeah. Or even like something hanging on the wall, or like something on the shelf like that with the magnets and the hooks that can be anywhere. You can literally hang that up anywhere you want. And I love that about it. I love also just the way Rob does videos where he states what has to happen, explains the best way to go about doing it, and then just shows you exactly how he does it. Because there's so much of the, I don't know, like part of making is the internal thought process that goes through how to achieve a goal. And I love the way Rob just lays it out. It's almost like looking at a blueprint before beginning, so you can see exactly what's going through Rob's thinking. And he has such a, I don't know, it's just like when he made those beads, the jig that he made for I think that was the first Makers Challenge, might have been the second, was it? No, it was the first Makers Challenge when he made beads, the jig he made for the beads. Like Rob has such a genius but so simple way of going about problem solving, and I just love watching his project videos because they always come out so cool.
Yeah, agreed. And I hadn't analyzed it quite like that, but that's bang on. That's it, how you don't know why you like something so much, but you do.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You just articulated like, oh yeah, that's that here's what we're going to do is the hook. And sometimes you'd think, oh, if you divulge, what you're going to do ahead of time, then people are going to be like, well, okay, great. And moving on, what I mean? Like, okay, great. You've like already cracked the mystery or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, no, that's definitely something about his style that is phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is.
And he does it.
He does it well, and he's a phenomenal teacher.
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah,
so that was a great project. And then the other one, Marlena's.
Well, yes, Marlena's. That light was so cool.
Yeah.
I have had a hard time making cubes in the past, probably because I don't have like. Well, now that my tile saw isn't working anymore. What?
Making cubes really suck.
Yeah, okay, yes, you can understand what I was like, how do I articulate it? And then Kyle just comes in, cubes suck. Yeah, those are the words I was looking for. Yeah.
So I was trying to cut some lead glass to make a cube out of it, and I can't get a perfect cube. And
it's also so frustrating.
No, and the worst thing is that this glass is so fragile. I went so slow on cutting. It gets to about, I don't know, 6/8 through the cut, and then it just like breaks off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. So I mean, I'm sure any other material might be a little bit easier, but yeah, I don't like cubes.
Yeah, me and cubes have a shady past.
Well, and after. Oh, I'm sorry.
So no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say after Jesse's, Scotch rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're both just showing us up
like,
with the cubes. She got such a nice polish on that cube too. It just looks so good with the light underneath it.
Yeah,
I've said it so many times. There's something about nice agatized wood backlit. There's nothing like it. The same was true for Kate's light table thing. So cool. There's just something about petrified wood. When you glow it properly, that red is unachievable anywhere else. It's so cool.
There were so many enlightening projects this time.
Yeah. There really were.
It was illuminated.
I was thinking about putting some under mine, and I was like, nah, I'm deep enough as it is. We don't need lights on top of it.
It's got the what Saturday Night Fever or whatever, the dance floor.
Yeah, it's literally a literal disco ball just drops from above over top of it.
Oh my gosh, a disco chess set would be so cool.
And they're all hooked up to pistons, so like all of the pieces bob up and down to the beat. Next time.
Maybe your second channel. Like.
Yeah, that way, modifying the chessboard. Oh, that would take so long.
Just start over again.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I do that, I'd happily do one out of wood that way because that would go way faster. But I'm not doing that out of stone again. That took so long.
And you used soft stones too. You didn't use hard stone.
Yeah, that was soapstone. It literally doesn't get softer than that. That's like
Can you imagine if you did
bottom
like
of the bar. Oh my gosh, I can't. I don't want to think about it. But I actually
wouldn't be with us.
Correct myself. I have been thinking about it because I'm actually working on making a plexiglass frame around my motor for the lathe. Because my thinking is if I can shield the motor, if I can shield the bearing, I can water feed it. Because the main fear is getting the motor wet. But if I make like a little plexiglass frame that I could just pop over top of everything, slide over the bearing, that could protect it from the water, and therefore I could water feed it. The whole reason it took as long as it did, it was because I couldn't water feed. So the cutting was just so slow. So if I could water feed it and cool it and remove the material that's being cut at a very rapid pace, because that's just how lathes are, I think I could go harder. I think I could go quite a bit harder if I can water feed it. So I'm trying to work this through in my head because I think if I can do it right, I think it could work. And that would be really, really cool. I don't think I'll ever go as in-depth as another chess set because that took so long. But there's so much cool things you can make with a lathe, like little stone vases or something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Totally cool. All right. Well, I hope that works out, that you have a wet lathe soon. That would be very cool.
I'm hoping.
Nice. So
I guess the only thing left was Saturday, which we have already started talking about, which was me. And I made a chess set.
Surprise.
Surprise, yeah. Spoilers.
And what a chess set it was. I mean, that's what Dustin was referring to, that you were like a madman. I think that as soon as we saw the pictures of it, we were just, the jaws were on the ground. Like, no way, dude.
It's probably my favorite thing I've ever made. It was so much work. It took so much time. It literally fought me every step of the way. But once it all was done, came together, and I took a step back, I just kept finding myself just staring at it, just smiling, going, "Oh my gosh, it looks so good! I did not expect it to come out looking the way it does." Yeah, exactly. So turning 16 pieces of soapstone into those pieces was so long. That took so long. That was such a long process. I think I was averaging, I didn't say it in the video, I think I told you guys, I think I was averaging about 8 or 9 hours per piece.
This is insanity.
For soapstone.
For soapstone, yeah. Literally, the bottom of the hardness scale, 8 or 9 hours a piece. And then I did all 16 pieces for the wood in about 6 hours, literally one work day, and I had all of the wood pieces done, and I was like, all right, this is eye-opening. I am more than willing to make more wood chess sets. That actually was a lot of fun, and I could probably make several in a week. Honestly, in 1 week I could probably make 3 or 4 wooden chess sets. Oh my gosh, that stone took so long. Also, oh my gosh, the squares for the board.
Right.
So frustrating.
Cubes and squares.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's more of those that 4-cornered shape that we were just talking about. That was so frustrating because there's no way to. Well, there probably is, honestly, frankly. There's certainly a way to set up a fence that would stop the stone exactly where it needs to be. So I wasn't getting uniform thickness was hard to make sure that my squares were square. So anyone that wasn't had to go over to the flat lap so that I could grind down each edge to make it even smaller.
Like the whole set's getting smaller and smaller because of all the
Yeah.
fixes.
Pretty much, yeah.
I was gonna leave a comment in the video and I didn't, but how come you didn't like take like the square pieces and have them? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So, because like you set them all up and then you put the epoxy on top of it, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't you have put the pieces upside down and then secured them in place, and that way you would have had a flat surface on top?
Probably. My original thought was actually to take all of the thin ones or just every piece and cut squares of either masonite or MDF and then grind them level so that they'd all be sitting flush. And then I looked at all of them and I'm like, dude, almost all of these squares are different thickness. That's going to take so much longer.
Well, that's why. Yeah, let's do this. Show self view. Oh gosh.
Oh,
there we go.
There it is.
So that's what I was saying. Like you would have put those squares. Let's say you would have put them on like a releasable surface, like on whatever they use for like releasing epoxy.
Yep.
Set them upside down, and that way all the uneven surfaces would be on the back side. And you just layer the epoxy on the back side. When you flip it over, then everything is nice and flush.
The problem. Sorry.
And then you could use like epoxy again to kind of go over that, so that way it looks like really flat.
And see, I was thinking about that too, but one of the hard parts about it was trying to, because even after correcting all of the squares, there were still minute differences with all of the pieces. So gluing them all, my original plan was to just glue, like take one square, glue the next square to that square, and so on to make the board that way. And then glue the frame to all of that grid put together. And I quickly learned after doing that I had huge discrepancies on either side because the squares weren't the same shape. So I learned that pretty much the only way that I was going to get a somewhat uniform looking shape was to lay down some masonite, glue the trim to that, and then fill, because there is actually some spaces between some of the squares, just to where I could, so that everything would actually lay out the way it was supposed to. Because I realized that if I tried gluing square to square instead of just gluing the squares down to the masonite and then pouring on top, it was not going to come out uniform.
Good to know. So I'm sure. I'm sure if I thought that, someone else probably would have thought the same thing. So now, if anyone else had that same thought, now you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just the wood squares were easy to work around because they were all exactly the same size. But the square one or the stone ones, there were some huge discrepancies in the sizes. Like,
couldn't you have used your faceting machine
to square them up? I used the flat lap to get back to evenness. But the other major problem was I used freaking Montana Yellowstone River Green Jaspers, which, believe it or not, are even harder than Montana agate.
No way.
Yes. So
they might be because I didn't polish it myself. Actually, didn't polish it at all. I actually cut a piece, or actually I slabbed up a Montana Jasper for Lisa, and she got it from Katie did. And that stuff is very interesting looking because it's not just your normal like plain green jasper. It had like silvery flakes on the inside of it. And it looked like it looked like I can't think of the right proper desserts, but it was like it was wavy.
It's layered.
Yeah. That stuff's interesting. And it's super dense. And I'm sure if I were to work this, it'd probably take a little while because it's pretty dense.
It is. It's insanely dense. This is actually, I was talking to you about this a while back because I know that we were commiserating over the fact that I'm not a big Jasper fan, except for Montana Jaspers, because there's just so much color variation. I feel like when I order Jaspers or like I'm shopping at rock shops and I see Jaspers, it's like red rock, brown rock,
green rock,
green rock.
Yellow rock.
In Montana, it's like
gold one.
Red that has varying like bands of different shades of red, and then there's little veins of chalcedony through all of that. Then there's like little flecks of hematite that when you polish just turn bright like steel. Like it's so cool. It's so cool. I love Montana jaspers. Which if you look at the close-ups of while we're talking, I guess we can be throwing up those pictures I sent of the chess set. This is a good example. It may on the outside look like a big green rock, but when you actually cut it and look at it, there is so much texture on the inside. But yeah, believe it or not, they are harder than Montana agates. And it's brutal working with these things. Like the saw was taking forever to cut, but also the flat lap was just crying trying to get through those things.
Oh, I bet.
So my next thought was to take the thick ones and grind them thinner so that I could just match all the heights to the thinnest squares, and I realized how ungodly long that would take. So I would go through so many 80 grit plates by the end of that. Oh, like I get nervous sweats just thinking about that. And I know how long that would take because I have done that so many times with iris agates, thinning down iris agates. I'm just like, yeah, I am not about to touch that. Actually, my original plan to make the squares was to make a little clamp on the side of the saw with a stick coming out so that it would stop the rock at the exact length that I wanted, and then cut the jasper into a brick, like literally just a rectangle, and then just slab little squares off of that. And I realized that that's a great idea if I have a bunch of green jaspers that all look the same. But if I do it that way, I'm going to lose enough of this rock that I will have to cut more jaspers to get all the squares. Because you need 32
That's not saving you
color.
any time anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So if I had started 2 months ago, that's a great idea. But considering I need this video done this week, I don't have time for that anymore. It was so much work.
You could have done all the squares out of iris agate and had a backlit chessboard.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be amazing.
And
look at him think of it.
I my idea there.
Could happen.
Oh my gosh. Should I just do chessboards for every makers now?
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
Iris for one square and then fire obsidian for the other ones.
Oh my gosh.
Be the worst with the chess set. And
then that hurts my brain thinking about how expensive that chess set would be.
But then
I know, just soapstone is like $1 million at this point with all the
do all the pieces out of have Karen do all the pieces out of silver for all the chess pieces.
Yeah, there you go. I know we've talked about this. I absolutely am making a metal chess set at some point because now that they're done, the legwork is done. So I can just make molds of all the pieces. It would not be hard at all to make like a silver versus brass or copper chess set.
Yeah,
that would be so cool.
Employ whatever patinas,
Yeah.
Like that would be just amazing. I would love to do something like that too.
Yeah, like it's gotta happen. And honestly, the board would be really easy to make because you don't need to like make this metal squares. You can just buy sheet because it's really, really easy to get brass and copper sheet. Silver, I don't know about, but aluminum absolutely is. Not so much silver, but you can get aluminum sheet for like like thin enough that you can cut them with normal scissors. And then you just put that on top like a veneer of wood squares. Bam. Bam. You've got all your metal squares.
Ooh. Wow. All right. I think we just started something bad.
That'll be a second channel project.
Yeah.
For sure. Because that's gotta happen.
Well, that was an amazing project, Theo.
Thank you.
Have you played any chess?
I have not. I keep telling Alexis I want to, but she doesn't know how to play.
Oh.
And I play cutthroat and aggressive.
Maybe you and Dante can play.
Yeah, I worry about her being anywhere near it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's still at the shop currently because I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Actually, on the second channel, not joking, on the second channel, I am going to make a case for it. So it's staying at the shop until that happens because it has really no safe way of traveling currently. So it's like you are going to sit exactly where you are until I can make an actual travel case.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the shows and the tells. Oh wait, no, you have more. But wait,
I do. There's more. So I forgot to mention.
Challenge.
Yeah, that was just So I forgot to mention during my How Was Your Week that 2 weeks ago, literally the day after Maker's Challenge, we had a crazy what is it? It's a coronal mass ejection, which caused a geomagnetic storm, and auroras were visible all over the U.S. as far south as southern Texas, which is insane.
Yeah, Arizona got it.
Yeah, like that's crazy. So, and a little backstory. I have been trying. I've lived in Montana my whole life. I will be 28 this year in August. I've never seen the Northern Lights once in my life, even though Montana gets dozens of Northern Lights every year. So I have been, I think it started because I missed a really, really big one in August last year. And ever since then, I'm like, all right, this is the year I will see this event. And I've been tracking the KP index like every single day for probably 5 months now. And it finally happened. Finally happened. Derek messaged me and he's like, get outside right now.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I took several hundred pictures and I'm going to share some of my favorites with you guys.
We're going to see them all right now.
Yeah. All of them. All several hundred.
Settle in, everyone.
We're pulling a Kyle. We're going to be doing this podcast for 12 hours.
12 hours.
We're going to be selling some rocks through Kyle. And
yes.
No pee
So
break.
this is just right outside of Billings.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is incredible.
There we go. I cannot believe some of the pictures we got.
Look at
this
the
one's
red
probably my
and the
favorite.
Purple. It looks like an opal in the sky.
It's so cool. I can't believe it. It's true, actually. The color ranges in auroras match what you would expect from Ammonite or opal, whereas like purple is the rarest on the spectrum. Green and red are super common, which is exactly what I would expect from opal color play or like Ammonite. I'll have this one. The green was
that there's
so
a
vibrant.
sciencey reason for that. Hey, Derek.
Yeah, Derek, hit me up.
Right.
This was just looking straight up.
Wow. And that's like, one of the things that you wonder when you're looking at the aurora and clouds is you're wondering, is that like, is that reflected off of the clouds? What's really going on? So was what you saw mostly like just color in the sky, or were you looking at reflections off of the clouds? You see how that's illuminated?
Oh, okay. So this is just really, really small wispy cloud. All of like where's a good example? This is just a really thin cloud layer right here. All of this color in the background was actually full on lights. Like this is a great example. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
So this little cloud right here is a little wisp. None of this is cloud whatsoever. That is all just open sky.
And it's hard to know if you've not seen that. If you weren't there, you wouldn't know. Like, okay, that's not reflected off of clouds. That's actually color.
Yeah, like, and it's weird. Like, amazing. There's so much I didn't know about it until I saw it in person. Like you actually don't see this full color in person. Oh. It's more of a pastel tone, like really, really, really muted pastel tone. It has to be a really, really concentrated aurora to actually see full color, or you have to be really high up as far as latitude. So like up Alaska, Northern Canada, Iceland, you can see this kind of color in person, but the further south you go, the more muted the color is going to be, and the camera with an open shutter can actually capture all of that color.
Wow.
But even still, like the sky was literally pulsating. Like you just see those time lapses of like the auroras, how they like dance. It does that in real time. And that really surprised me because I was not expecting it to be pulsing the way it was. Like it literally shimmers in real time.
Wow.
It was so cool. So this is probably my favorite picture other than that other one. So we've got really, really cool shot right there, but it gets better. So we've got shooting star.
Wow.
Right here. And we've got shooting star behind the aurora right here, because it just so happened that during this aurora was also the peak of the what is it, the Leonid meteor shower.
Is it the Leonids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were seeing
so cool.
shooting stars the whole time we were out there. I was really hoping that I could get at least one picture with shooting stars. There's one more in this one right here. So we've got this one right here also.
Yeah.
So I have aurora shots with shooting stars in them. But the other cool thing, I think I have a picture of it in here somewhere. If not, just enjoy the eye candy. Look how bright the green got later in the night. Like, that's just otherworldly.
It is.
I think it's
the moon.
Yes, that is the moon. I think it's further back. Oh, if you can actually see the way the lights move around if you do it in like quick succession.
Yeah. That's cool.
Like they're dancing. Okay, man. This is the shot I was looking for. That bright light right there is actually Venus, which it just so happens that the peak visibility, peak brightness of Venus also coincided. So we had an aurora, Leonid meteor shower, and peak visibility for Venus all in one night.
Wow. That's insanity.
It was amazing. Cool. And I have the sun has been extremely active. So everyone viewing this at home, there is another opportunity around the corner. Just check spaceweather.com. It does real-time updates, and yeah, the sun has been insanely active. It has been having a coronal mass ejections like weekly, so it will not be long at all before the next visible aurora.
Wow, very cool to know.
Yes. Oh, and then one more. I don't have.
You've got some aurora agate.
Aurora trapped inside a stone. From the last cutting video, we got an insane. It was funny because we cut 4 Montana agates. 2 of them were pretty much just like clear banded, not really anything inside. They were kind of boring. I called them duds, which was sad because they were both like 3 or 4 pound agates. But 2 of them made up for it completely because we got some absolutely insane iris, including this one right here, which just so happened to be the last cut of the day. I cannot believe this iris agate. It is crazy. And that was a 4.5, maybe 5 pounds Montana agate. So I haven't even cut a third of that agate yet. So I'm going to glue it to a board and dress the blade and cut the rest of that. I'm probably going to get a bunch of slabs off of that rock.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
That's fantastic.
Yes, it was a good day.
Yeah. I mean,
good day for sure.
Yeah, you just loaded up on colors.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I still can't believe
hues for you. Nice.
And it's a full round too. It's not like just a partial. Oh, I was so happy.
It's so pretty. That. Like it's just a pretty slab by itself, and it's iris. I mean, yeah, it's a gorgeous. It's very aesthetic all by itself.
Yeah, exactly. And the color is just so concentrated. Like a lot of iris you get is like pastel tone, but it's so just saturated, like just deep, true colors. I love it so much.
Yeah.
That might be my best iris, honestly. Like just full stop. End of statement. That might be my best iris.
Yeah. Definition of a banger.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was quite the chock full of shows and tells there.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
For that. And for my shows and tells, I have some bones, and that's just not a surprise. It's kind of like the feature colors and bones this evening. Yeah. And so on one of the last hunts that we had, I came up with this guy, and this bone was so interesting. I mean, check that weirdness out right there.
Yeah.
So on part 2 with Kent, we are checking out this guy. And this is one of the reasons why I need to fundraise an air scribe, you guys. Because Kent's like, there's going to be more fun in there, you know. And
also, so can also prep my crab that I've got.
Yes, for sure. And so I want to get down into this interesting little, probably pinniped bones there. And so a marine mammal of some kind, but smaller. And so very interesting. Want to get into that. And
heck yeah.
That was a good hunt. The beach has been very kind to us this year.
Heck yeah.
I also have this, and this might have been something that, it's a rock, Karen. There's really not that much going on other than the fact that there's like what could have been very easily seagull poop, because it's just, design or whatever. But if you take a good close look at this guy, and I did include a slide for both a running reel, but also a slide for Kyle to pop up. What's intriguing about this guy, it's definitely fishbone, because you can maybe see it even just with the zoom camera. It's shiny, especially in here. The glacier, the more likely this like filigree stuff is the bones of fish. And what this like started screaming at me, just only because I've painted and carved into woodblock and that sort of thing, so many flippin' fish, that I started seeing the eye, that's already looks like an eye, Karen. So it's like not that genius or anything, but you can see the eye socket. And then as you but you see a lot of circular things on the beach, and so you don't want to necessarily jump to conclusions, because that's easy too. But there's a post-orbital looking area and the suborbital looking area, and the Braco the Branco tegial, the Branco tegial rays, which they come from the gill arch, and so their processes, their bony processes, and if you come around, you get a chance to see what very possibly is that like coming out from here.
Cool.
Imagine where the gill is, right? And from that gill arch, and then possibly even the angular here. And so this is like this tiny little concretion that's just a little skipper of a bone, like you could skip this across a lake or whatever. It's like so easily missed, but we're probably looking at a fairly nice little fish skull here. And so
that's so cool.
How fun is that?
That's awesome.
This is probably what I'm going to do with it. I was working a little bit with it earlier. Acid in the form of just some, basic household cleaner type acid vinegar. And a prepping tool. I'm going to use the acid baths, and then just flake this away and see how into it we can get. And I will definitely show that with you guys, because you can see I can uncover all of that right there, and we can get a really good look at it. And this comes all the way around, you see. And so there's some details, so cool. That we can have a little fun without the scribe. We'll do some prep. I have a little scribe that we can.
You just got to tap it really fast.
And I was watching a video not too long ago of somebody actually doing that. They had like a little, probably like a tungsten bit that was on, kind of a longer rod. And they were using like this tiny little hammer. And they were.
It makes sense. Yeah, that checks out. I could see that working really well. Not like I'm an authority or anything, but yep, that checks out.
So I think, at the very least, guys, we're definitely going to prep the fish and see who's under there. And with any luck, we might even be able to get an ID off this guy.
And at the very least, you could use apple cider vinegar, and it's just a nice snack for later.
Yeah. So, right. Fish and chips. Like you put the vinegar on there, malt vinegar.
I didn't even make the fish and chips connection. That was just...
I'm here for you. So one last thing really quick. And this is going to be, I think, either at the end of the video that you guys just saw, or the beginning of the next one with Kent. You saw this big old rockfish that had this great big the part of the skull also, which actually was one of the reasons why I came back and I made sure that I knew what I was talking about there. But these guys, I was like, oh my gosh, those look just like this little concretion that I just picked up. And I knew it was like fish parts, but like these are big. You saw how little that little, so how big? Well, Kent's fish skull that is it's a rockfish, is a big concretion with these big, I think he was saying, it's again part of the probably the suborbital or something, over here, that part that, comes around and sometimes is all like, yeah.
That's so cool.
And yeah, and it's just the same. And so you guys, like, if you can feast your eyes on the stuff that you're looking for, then you know what it is. And sometimes, if you don't know what it is, maybe bring it home. I know there's lots of leverites, but you feast your eyes on the stuff and you're going to, make these realizations like, that's what I'm looking for on the beach, or, oh my gosh, I already have one in my collection. No way. So that was kind of like a happy detail. I think I shared that with one of my lives not too long ago. And so we were trying to figure out what it could possibly be. And I think we know now, which is
pretty. Heck yeah, that's awesome.
That's the shows and tells for now. And so I think that we would be moving on to the words of wisdom.
I think so.
Okay. Have you got some?
I do. And it pertains to my endeavor on trying to find the Northern Lights. Trying to figure out the best way to word this. So for the 4 or 5 months, I checked spaceweather.com every single day. For 4 months, I kept track of the KP index. I kept track of the solar storms, kept track to see what the coronal mass ejections were doing, because I wanted that one opportunity. If I had not checked, 181 days, I could have missed that amazing once in a lifetime opportunity. So I don't know. Just it may seem like what you're doing is fruitless or pointless or not going the way you want, but persistence will always pay off.
That is so true. Good one. I love that. And I think a lot of us need to hear that, like, probably more often. Yeah.
That the 180 days I checked that and there was nothing was all worthwhile for the one day it was. There was finally something.
Yeah. Nice. You got it.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for those words. And I think that, boy, mine are definitely about what I was just talking about, tuning your eyes and also believing that you will find it. I think that there's a lot behind, like, just knowing for sure that, like, okay, this is the thing that I'm looking for. I'm tuning my eyes. I am going to find this thing. And you don't know, but you might find it under your very own nose. Like, it might be already in your rock pile. So how cool is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I also, for the shouts, I forgot to mention, and this definitely kind of twirls into the fact that I would love to thank Kent Gibson for being a fantastic guest on the podcast. And he gets to come back, of course, for his part 2. And one day we might even get him live and in person, but he definitely wanted to be able to show off what was there. That would be an impossibility to try to, move through a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, but, absolutely.
It was just one of those serendipitous moments where I was asking about a group called NARG, the North American Research Group, and they specialize in fossil, basically a group of people that are interested in fossil finding, fossil prepping, fossil identification, all of this. And their meeting was the same night that we were hanging out with all of his bones. And I just, he happened to mention it, or I happened to mention it. And he's like, yeah, the meeting's tonight. And so I was not a member, didn't know about it, went ahead and attended it. the person that did the talk was actually from his talk was about from here on the coast, some bones that he had found that had been hollowed out mysteriously. I believe they were whale verts.
Oh, wow.
And he did a little bit of research and found out that there were these whale bone burrowing worms, and
which are still a thing today.
Yeah, so you know about them.
Yeah. It's wild. Like, yeah, they find that happens with beached whale carcasses. Like, there'll just be a skeleton, and some of the bones, I mean, you'll have this massive vertebrae that's like that round but weighs nothing because it's been completely hollowed. It's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. And so, it was this wonderful mystery solved, and it was neat that this meeting that I got to attend was about like stuff right in my backyard. I mean, literally down the street from where I live.
Yeah,
like
that's
this
awesome.
was where these fossils had been collected from. But I wanted to give a shout out to the North American Research Group, NARG. Thank you for having me at your meeting. Definitely becoming a member. And if you're interested in doing the fossil stuff too, they do field trips and that sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
I think on the monthly when the weather's right, and you can go dig. They're going to do salmon, these 8-foot long salmon skeletons on some private land that they get to go on to and go do this research. And then
that's so cool.
Yeah. So look them up if you're interested. It's a really neat group. So anyways, just wanted to put that out there, and thanks, Kent, for letting me know about that. And again, thank you for coming. And do we have anything else, Jash?
No, I don't think so. Jash is giving his
signing
his
off on that
cents.
too.
Yeah, I'm signing off.
All right.
Check us out.
Again, if you guys have any weird rocks to share with us, or want to join the Discord, go ahead and hit the email in the description. Give us a thumbs up, or leave us a comment. I'll shout you out in the next week, but also that helps the algorithm get us out there, and we'd love for people to know about Kent's cool collection and all the stuff that we share here on the podcast on the bi-weekly. And meanwhile, you guys, I hope that you can get out there and do some rock hounding and enjoying the nature, and may the 4th be with you and all that kind of stuff.
The 4th be with you. When this comes out, it will be Revenge of the 5th.
Yes. And with that, we gotta go. So rock on, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.